They treated her pool like it was their own personal resort. She let them think they'd won until she didn't. Elena Rodriguez was beyond furious, standing in her backyard in Austin, Texas, staring at the aftermath of yet another unauthorized pool party. Empty beer cans bobbing in her pool, wet towels scattered everywhere, cigarette butts littering her custom deck. These people had some nerve. At 38, Elena owned one of the most impressive homes in the neighborhood, not because of a rich dad, not because of a wealthy husband. No, she built her real estate empire from nothing, starting as a cleaning lady at 19, saving every penny, fighting for every step up. Now, she ran 3 successful companies and had a house that made people genuinely jealous. The first break-in happened on a Friday. Elena returned early from a business trip and heard laughter. There, in her pool, were 5 teenagers, drinking beer and blasting music like they owned the place. Out! Elena's voice cut through their laughter. They scrambled, grabbing towels and phones. One kid had the nerve to smile and say, "Sorry, Miss Rodriguez, the door was open." Elena snapped. "No, it wasn't. You jumped my fence." The next day, Elena confronted their parents. "Big mistake." "Oh, come on," one mother scoffed, barely looking up from her phone. "They're just kids. It's summer. What's the big deal?" Elena's blood pressure spiked. "The big deal is your kids broke into my property." "Broke in," the father laughed. "It's just a pool. Stop being so uptight." Elena wasn't done. She installed cameras, added better locks, put up warning signs. Didn't matter. The entitlement just kept growing. A week later, she caught 3 different families at her pool. Kids doing cannonballs, parents lounging on her chairs, coolers full of drinks on her deck. "We thought it was okay," one woman called out, not even bothering to get up. "Sarah from book club said you never use it anyway." Elena's jaw clenched. Sarah, her neighbor, always making comments about new money and how the neighborhood was changing. The invasions kept coming every weekend. More strangers, more mess, more attitude. Elena started finding cigarette butts in her pool filter, beer cans in her bushes. Someone even vomited on her deck. Then came the Instagram posts. Photos of people partying in her pool with captions like "Best Secret Spot in Austin" and "Free Pool Day." Her property went viral. People were driving in from other neighborhoods to break in. Elena couldn't even go to the store without returning to find trespassers. The breaking point? Someone tried hosting a pool party business on her property, charging people admission to use her pool. Elena saw the Instagram post, "Luxury pool parties, $25 per person every Saturday. BYOB. DM for address." She called the police. They took notes, left, and did nothing. They called it a civil matter. Elena confronted the party organizer, another entitled neighbor named Jessica. "People want luxury pool access," Jessica shrugged, counting cash. "You're being selfish, keeping it all to yourself." Selfish? Elena had worked for 20 years for that house, for that pool, for that life. And now these people thought they had a right to it. The next Saturday, Elena counted 47 people in her backyard. Music blasting, kids screaming, adults drinking. Someone even set up a barbecue on her deck. A woman Elena had never seen waved from a lounge chair. "Great party. You should join us." Join them in her own pool? The pool she paid for? Elena watched a kid throw up in her pool while his mother ignored him, too busy taking selfies. Another group was doing shots on her deck, spilling tequila everywhere. Someone's dog was peeing on her expensive plants. That's when Elena snapped. Really snapped. These people thought they could take whatever they wanted and treat her property like a public park? Fine. Let them think they'd won. Let them get comfortable. But Elena had a plan to make sure none of these entitled people would ever want to swim in her pool again. That night, Elena sat at her kitchen table, scrolling through security footage, hands shaking with rage. These people weren't just entitled, they were shameless. The way they strutted around her property like they owned it, the way they laughed when she confronted them. It was time to change the game. First stop, the pool supply store. Elena knew exactly what she needed. The clerk raised an eyebrow at her list. "Planning something big?" he asked. Elena smiled. You could say that. Next, she visited a sign shop for custom warning signs, big ones professionally done, the kind that made lawyers happy and trespassers nervous. But the real genius? Chemical dye packets, harmless but highly effective. The kind that turned pool water bright purple when activated. The same stuff fancy hotels use to catch people peeing in their pools. Elena installed everything that night: new locks, better cameras, motion sensors. She put up the signs. Warning: pool chemically treated. Unauthorized use may cause severe skin discoloration. Management not responsible for personal effects damaged by security measures. Just for show, she left some official-looking chemical containers by the pool equipment. Empty, of course, but they didn't know that. The next morning, Jessica from 2 doors down walked her dog past Elena's house. Elena watched through the window as Jessica read the signs, pulled out her phone, and started typing. Within an hour, the neighborhood Facebook group exploded. Elena's lost it. She put crazy chemicals in her pool. What if it's dangerous? Someone should report her. Elena laughed. They were mad because she'd protected her property? Classic. But entitled people don't give up easily. That weekend, the real test came. Saturday afternoon. Perfect pool weather. Sure enough, at 2 p.m., the first group arrived. Teenagers. They read the signs, saw the chemical containers, whispered among themselves, and left. An hour later, another group, adults this time, with coolers and pool floats, got as far as the gate before spotting the warnings. Not worth it, one woman said. Let's go to the community pool. Victory! But Elena wasn't done. She had one more card to play. Sunday morning, Sarah's famous brunch party. Elena knew they'd try her pool. Sarah had been the worst offender, acting like she owned the place. Sure enough, Sarah led her entire brunch crew into Elena's backyard. 20 people, all dressed up, ignoring the warning signs. Oh please, Sarah announced loudly. She's just trying to scare us. Those chemicals are probably just chlorine. Elena watched from her security cameras as they jumped in. She waited exactly 3 minutes, then hit the button. The dye packets burst. Within seconds, the crystal-clear water turned deep purple. People screamed, scrambling out of the pool. Too late. Sarah emerged first, skin tinted purple from the dye. Her expensive white swimsuit ruined. Her friends didn't fare any better. They looked like they'd had a grape soda accident. What did you do? Sarah screamed at Elena. Elena stepped outside, calm as can be. Me? I posted warnings. Very clear ones. You chose to ignore them. This has to be illegal, someone shouted, examining their purple hands. Elena pulled out her phone. I have you all on camera, trespassing, breaking and entering, property damage. Want to talk about illegal? The crowd fell silent. The dye wears off in about a week, Elena added sweetly. Maybe next time, read the signs. They fled, a parade of purple people running through the neighborhood. Sarah tried to cover herself with a towel, but the damage was done. Within hours, photos hit social media. The purple pool party went viral, but not in the way they had planned. Elena's phone started ringing with angry parents, furious neighbors, even Sarah's husband. You've made your point, he said. This is humiliating for them. That was the idea, Elena replied, with a grin. And here's the best part. That dye? It transfers. It'll stain their car seats, their furniture, their sheets for days. Everything they touch will turn purple. He went quiet. You're evil. No, Elena corrected. I'm done being nice. But she wasn't finished. The purple dye was just the beginning. Elena had one more surprise in store, something to make sure these entitled people never looked at her pool again. The purple pool incident should have been enough, but Elena knew entitled people, they'd get mad, wait a few weeks, then try again. She needed something more permanent, something that would make them think twice before stepping foot in her yard again. So she went nuclear. First, she installed military-grade motion sensors, sensors that could tell the difference between a squirrel and a person sneaking in. She connected them to a special surprise, industrial-strength sprinklers positioned all around her yard. Not regular sprinklers. These were powerful enough to knock someone off their feet, and the water? Ice cold. But the real genius was what she added to them. A special, non-toxic, military-grade ink, the kind they use in bank dye packs. It's invisible until it hits UV light, then it glows bright neon green. And it doesn't wash off for a month. Elena set everything up, then waited. The neighborhood stayed quiet for 2 weeks after the purple pool incident. Sarah and her friends were still dealing with stained furniture. Jessica had to buy a new car interior. People crossed the street when they saw Elena coming. Then one night, Elena's phone buzzed. Motion sensors triggered. Elena checked her cameras. 3 figures sneaking through her yard. Sarah's teenage kids and their friends, coming for revenge, probably. She let them get halfway to the pool, then hit the button. The sprinklers exploded to life. Screams filled the night as ice-cold water blasted the kids from every direction. They tried to run, but the sprinklers followed their movements, soaking them completely. Elena watched them scramble away, dripping wet, having no idea what was coming next. The real show started the next morning. Sarah's daughter went to school, probably thinking she'd just gotten wet. Then she stepped into the sunlight. Her skin lit up like a glow stick at a rave, bright neon green. Impossible to miss. Her brothers too. Every inch of skin the sprinklers had hit was glowing. The school called Sarah immediately. Her kids were too distracting. They all got sent home. Sarah showed up at Elena's door, face red with rage. "What did you do to my kids?" Elena leaned against her doorframe. "Looks like they had an accident with my new security system. The one I installed after people kept breaking into my property. They're glowing green." Sarah cried. "They must be the UV-reactive security ink," Elena replied. "Don't worry. It only lasts about a month. Unless they go out in the sun, then it might be 2 months." Sarah's mouth opened and closed like a fish. This is insane," Sarah shouted. "No," Elena corrected. "I'm just done being nice." Word spread fast. Photos of the glowing kids went viral. The Green Ghost Gang, people called them. They had to wear long sleeves and pants in the Texas heat to hide the glow. The next month, dead quiet. No more parties. No more trespassers. No more entitled attitudes. Elena's security cameras caught people walking past her house, crossing the street to avoid getting too close. Parents pointed at her yard, warning their kids to stay away. The community pool suddenly became very popular. One evening, Elena was enjoying her pool alone, finally. When her doorbell rang, it was Jessica, the one who tried to run a pool party business from Elena's yard. "Look," Jessica said, not meeting Elena's eyes. "We're having a neighborhood meeting next week about community pool upgrades. Would you maybe share some tips about pool maintenance? Yours is always so perfect." Elena smiled, but it wasn't a nice smile. "Worried about chemicals in the community pool?" Jessica flinched. We thought that since I worked hard for something nice, you had a right to it, that my property was public property." Jessica stared at her feet. "Here's a tip," Elena said. "Respect other people's property. And warn your friends. My security system's still armed, and I've got some new surprises installed." She didn't actually, but they didn't know that. The lesson stuck. A year later, Elena's pool was still her own private paradise. No more trespassers. No more entitled neighbors. No more attitude. Because that's the thing about entitled people, they don't learn from kindness. They don't learn from warnings. They learn from consequences. Elena had tried being nice. She tried reasoning. She tried playing by the rules. But sometimes you have to fight entitlement with creativity. And if that means a few purple people and some glowing teenagers, well, that's just the price of learning respect.